Boxing Bros UK is sponsored by Lucio Italiano, the home of luxury. Yeah, Frank Warren, Boxing Bros UK. I'm a new channel. It's an absolute honour to meet you. I'm a bit starstruck.
Channel, let's go.
Right, just wanted to.
This camera here.
Yeah. I just wanted to ask you the February 22nd card. How did the Zhang Ajit Kabayel fight come about? Because obviously they were both supposed to fight McCauley, and then they both ended up on that show.
Because it's a bloody good fight.
Yeah, no. So
that's why it's on.
And this card, it's a really, really good card.
It's a cracking card. It's probably one of the best cards, if not the best card, for the last 30, 40 years. No doubt about that. In fact, I can't think of a better card in my time in boxing. So it's huge fights, brilliant fights, and it's boxing dream, boxing heaven for the fans.
Like for me, I would love to see Moses Atuma on one of these cards in one time. Is anything like that going to happen?
He's fighting next week, 2 weeks' time. So you'll see him.
Oh, that's great. All right, it's a pleasure to meet you, Frank.
And you, young man. Good luck.
Thank you very much.
Right, next one.
Last one. Right. I am His Chris from Boxing Bros UK, and I have a legend here, an absolute legendary commentator. Oh my God. Big Fight Live. Tell me about that show back in the day when you used to work on it.
Well, what I will say is we were very busy. We look back now and think, how did we churn out all those shows we were doing, quite honestly, at Sky, particularly at Sky. We used to do 2 shows a week, nearly every week. A midweek live show, small hall show, and then obviously we were very fortunate with the contracts we had at the time. Big fights nearly every weekend of the year. We also used to do a magazine show. And obviously I worked on football as well, so I'm thinking about it now, getting tired. But we had a great team. We were a very well-organised team, and it was wonderful at the time to work for a broadcaster so committed to boxing, which Sky were.
Tell me about the time. What's your favourite Big Fight Live? Because that was a big favourite show of mine. I used to rise in my childhood. So, which is your favourite night working? What was your favourite night commentating? Big Fight Live.
I know. The one probably that stands above all the others was the first Tyson Holyfield fight in America in the mid-90s. Everything around that was huge. It was massive news in the United States. It took 5 years to put it together. There's a great film about it, Chasing Tyson. The back story to how the fight was delayed and how it was always going to happen at some point. The significance of it in the heavyweight division, the risk factors surrounding Evander Holyfield at the time, and the hysteria in the arena when the fight reached a climax is something I'll never, ever, ever forget. So for all those reasons, that's probably the one above all the others. But you're right, there are lots of other candidates.
What was your favourite night when it was on ITV? Back to the free one.
Well, when I was slightly younger, when I was watching, definitely as a fan, the early mid-80s era when I was watching like everybody else, and I think ITV had nearly all those great fights. Tommy Hearn's one of my all-time heroes, Leonard, Duran, Hagler, that whole era, those super fights between all those guys, and I hope we might just have a little taste of that again over the next few years. But when one looks back at those fights now, and remembers how often they fought each other and how big those fights were, it was just another dimension, wasn't it, at that time?
I know, obviously, because of your job, you've got to stay impartial, but give me 3 fighters right now who you really like, prospects that you think are going to go somewhere.
Prospects?
Yeah. Who you think they're going to really
in
do well.
Britain?
In Britain, British ones, yeah. Boxing Bros UK, we'll keep it British.
Okay, so we're featuring Sam Notes at the weekend at Wembley. He's potentially a generational talent, I think. It's a very tough division at world level, we know that, but I really want to see him get his opportunity. There is one. I think Itauma in the heavyweight division has got something a little bit extra.
Sure.
And to me, he seems to have the temperament. He understands where he is. He's a learner. He knows there's a long road ahead and there will be setbacks. So I think He's done everything right so far, but it's very, very early, and I might need a little bit of help with the third outstanding kid, because we have got so many. I never remember an era in Britain with an array of talent like we have now. I will say that.
Anybody you like to watch?
I love watching them all, to be honest. And I say again, I am actually awestruck. I think a lot of it comes from what happened around the Team GB amateur structure. That was a huge rejuvenating factor, maybe 10, 15 years ago now. And so much is built out from that point. A lot of kids don't want to go into that. They want to get their hands dirty, if you like, as professionals. Sometimes it works to their advantage. Sometimes we look back 5 years later and go, could have maybe done a bit more in the amateur game, because it's still a great schooling ground in so many ways. But they're trying to get ahead of the competition, and I do understand that too.
But without putting the hard work in, kind of. Well, they put the hard work in, but not the traditional way.
Not the traditional way. Yeah. Although, let's be clear as well. I do cover amateur boxing, for example, at the Olympics and so on. They're two different sports. I've always viewed that two different sports. And a lot of kids who do stay in the amateurs find the transition to being a pro very difficult and very challenging, just in terms of the lifestyle, the fact they're on their own so much more, and they become accustomed, I won't say to the home comforts of being in a very well-run amateur program, because not all of them get in to Team GB, obviously, but nobody can prepare them for the step out of it. The game is so different. Obviously, round lengths are different. The attitude of a lot of the pro fighters is so different to amateurs. So there are so many grades of pro in a country like Britain. The survivors, the 6-8 round guys, the ambitious guys, 10 rounders, and then the championship fighters. And working a way through that is something you don't really do in amateur boxing. You just have a match every 3 weeks.
Yeah, I suppose if you look at Fraser Clark, Fabio Wardley.
Exactly that. Very, very good. Very, very good example.
Mm-hmm. Well, it's been a pleasure. Thank you for your time.
My pleasure too.
Legend.
Enjoy.
I'm just going to shake your hand. You couldn't just give me a shout out for the channel, but it's Boxing Bros UK.
Boxing Bros UK. Watch it.
Thanks, sir.
Okay. Thank you.
Hello.
Nice to
It's
see
been
you.
a pleasure. Thank you. Okay.
Boxing Bros UK. Watch it.
Thanks, sir.
Okay.
Boxing Bros UK is sponsored by Lucio Italiano, the home of luxury.